I think what makes this book successful and different is that it has a writing and exposition style that I believe is friendly, if you will, to students, to the readers. Okay, I believe we've balanced that precarious challenge of trying to be rigorous and true to the math, yet at the same time be intuitive and try to make it approachable to the students. Most students won't read a textbook linearly. They won't start on page one and just kind of plow through it. What they'll do is they'll tend to jump around. They'll go to the appropriate example. And what I've always thought was, if you can write the example in such a way that it's readable enough that they want to read the next example or maybe the one before it, I think that you have succeeded. This edition of the textbook supports teachers in assessing their students' readiness by including a prerequisite diagnostic exam, which basically consists of the main algebra concepts that a student would need to know to be successful in calculus. It's not a sufficient requirement, but it is a minimum requirement. That's how we wrote them. To help the instructors keep tabs on the students' progress, we included a new feature called the quick checks. And the quick checks are spaced, they're about 2 or 3, maybe more per section, and they correspond to every few examples. And the idea was that as the instructor is teaching material to the students, if the instructor so desires, they can immediately assign to the student a similar problem, i.e. the quick check question that's beside it. Now the quick checks themselves are similar but not identical to the examples. Now I can say, hey guys, why not try quick check number 3? I'll give you 5 minutes to try this out, team up with a neighbor, just to see how they're doing, because I need to know right then and there, are they getting what I'm saying or not? The interactive figures are a new and very robust way to illustrate some of the concepts of calculus that really almost demand movement. And after all, calculus is movement. It's a dynamic mathematics. And so, for example, in the simple case, you might have a curve, and we want to show how the slopes of the secant lines agree with the slope of the tangent line as the 2 points come together. Now, on a chalkboard, it's a little difficult. I can show them with a series of dots and a series of dashed lines, but I don't know if some students really get that. And to have a student be able to use their mouse and to move it back and forth and see it happen in real time, I think that's something that will appeal to a lot of students. The strengths of the exercise sets is the variety of problems, but also I believe it's the structure. We start the exercise sets with kind of simple skill set type questions just to give the student a little bit of confidence. Can you work these basic problems out? And then we graduate to more and more complex exercises. And then from there we go into the so-called word problems, but the application questions. So we try to lead the students from a very basic level to a very advanced level in a very natural way. Now, every section also has, toward the end, a synthesis section. And the synthesis is an opportunity to even go more advanced or maybe off in a slightly different direction, or to bring back a concept we might have talked about in a previous chapter. I believe the most valuable new feature to this book are the chapter summaries. What we have done is we've taken the 60 or 70 pages of each chapter, all the text and all the examples, and we've compressed it into about a half dozen pages of a chapter summary. And in doing so, it gives a nice wrap-up to the chapter. The student will have seen all this stuff before in the previous few weeks. So they come to this chapter summary. It gives them a very structured way to read through an example or the definition, see the example. Another definition, see the example. Definition, example. And that gives them a sense of where they should be.